Hello and welcome once again to the Fitness is Our Business podcast, the show that helps busy professionals thrive in their demanding lives by taking control of their health and fitness. I am your host, Victor Fernandez, founder of Fernandez Fit and best-selling author, and I coach entrepreneurs and business owners who've built something real in the business world and are finally ready to build the elite version of themselves to match. If this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. But whether you're new or this is your second, third, fourth, umpteenth time listening to the show, do me a solid. Make sure to like, leave a great review, subscribe to the show, and share it far and wide because more and more people need to learn that fitness is our business. Now, I want to paint a picture for you here, if I may. Nobody ever wakes up one morning and they suddenly realize they're 40 pounds overweight, exhausted, and disconnected from their family. Just doesn't happen that way. Now, how it does happen is this: one skipped workout at a time, one late night where you don't get quality sleep at a time, one I'll start next Monday at a time. Until one day you do look up and you realize you've been what I like to call drifting. Quietly, gradually, without a single truly dramatic decision or change here and there, away from the person you know you're capable of being and really want to be deep down inside. That's what I want to talk about today: the drift and what it actually takes to reverse it. I want to describe something, and I want you to think about this. Honestly, think about this to yourself, if any of this sounds familiar to you. And trust me, I'm including myself in this scenario. A few years ago, you were in better shape. Not perfect, but better. You had more energy. You slept reasonably well. You felt reasonably good, all in all, about what you saw in the mirror. And then the business got serious. Your career got serious. The family got bigger. The schedule got seemingly impossible. And one by one, the things you were doing for yourself, that self-care that I always talk about, started falling off the list. First, it was the gym, getting in for workouts. Then it was the quality sleep. Then it was the meals that we got, the grab-and-go meals that we get. Then it's the coffee becoming the primary fuel source. You know who I'm talking about out there. There's many of you who fall into that category. Then the afternoon crash that becomes normal. Then just being tired all the time. Because that's, you feel like that's just how life is. That's how it becomes as we get older. No single moment you can pinpoint made this happen. No real single decision that you can say, yep, that's where it began. Just the drift. Just kind of floating along like you're going down the lazy river at an amusement. I know the drift very well. I drifted for about 20 years. Not really because I was lazy, really far from it. Not because I didn't really care, because I did, but because I kept choosing my career, everything and everyone else before me and my own physical well-being. The deadline over the gym, the meeting over the meal, and none of those individual choices felt significant enough at the time to be the problem. But cumulatively speaking, together, when you put it all together, they added up to 248.2 pounds. Yes, I know that weight, my high water mark, if you will, down to the ounce. And also a version of myself I really didn't recognize. Here's the thing about the drift that makes it so dangerous. It often feels invisible while it's happening. You adjust, you adapt, you just keep going. You keep going with whatever feels normal at that time. Even if it's a downward spiral, you accept it as the new normal. It's just how life is, you tell yourself, because it did arrive so gradually until one day something breaks through to create some level of acceptance, forced or otherwise. A photo, that you see of yourself from a few years back, where you looked a lot better than you do now. A flight of stairs that you never had a problem with that suddenly leaves you winded. A doctor's visit where the news isn't all that great. And most of all, and this is what happened to me, one of the things that happened to me was a morning where you look at the person in the mirror and think, this just isn't who I'm supposed to be. For me, it was my son, my youngest son, Zach, being born. Nurse, as corny as this may sound, because I'm sure you heard that a lot, and you've heard it from me. I've shared this story many times over. When the nurse handed him to me for the first time after he was born, and I was looking down at him, my firstborn son, and knowing with complete clarity that if I didn't change my ways, I was going to miss everything that mattered, all those milestone moments in his life. Now, here's the part that's specific to all of us, to the business owner, the founder of the business, the entrepreneur, the career-driven person. The same traits that make us exceptional at building a business make us particularly vulnerable. And that includes career-oriented people. It doesn't matter if you're owning a business or not. If you are driven by your career, this applies to you. Because you become good, we become good at deferring gratification. That's what I considered one of my superpowers back in the day. It's how you delay a paycheck to invest in growth, how you push through the hard years to get to the other side. But that same mental, emotional, physical muscle, if you will, the one says, not yet, stay focused, the reward comes later. That's what turns on your health. And your health can't wait the way a business goal can. We have such a sense of urgency when it comes to the goals we set for our business, but not so much for ourselves. Because we're good at optimizing for the urgent. Career-driven people, entrepreneurs, business owners, we live in the urgent. The team issue, the client call, the deadline, the fire of the week that we have to put out. Health is important, but if we're constantly setting it aside, it's not really urgent until one day it is. I'm sure you've heard the saying, you may have a million problems, but when your health is one of them, you only have one problem. It's the one that matters at that point. And by then, you may have lost years. We know in today's society that we're good at tolerating discomfort. We don't like to be uncomfortable, but facing discomfort we're okay with, which means we can tolerate feeling worse and worse for longer and longer without it really triggering a response. These aren't necessarily weaknesses within us. They're the same strengths that build our businesses, build our careers. But they're also working against us when it comes to our health. And really understanding that, is the first step to reversing the drift. Look, the drift isn't a character flaw of some kind. It's really a predictable outcome of a high-performance mindset applied without any sort of levels of boundaries that are going to keep us safe, keep us out of harm's way. It's the fix isn't more willpower. It's a design, much like building a business is. And it doesn't require a real dramatic overhaul. It requires a decision to say, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start it right now. That's your starting point. And I've shared it before. My starting point was just 10 minutes on a treadmill. Slowly. Not because that's all I could do. Well, frankly, it's probably all I could do at the time, looking back on it. But my coach also understood that the goal on day one and week one wasn't intensity. It was building an identity. It was building the habit of showing up. Then that 10 minutes became 20. 20 became a full session. 14 months later, it became 75 pounds lost. Because I stopped quitting. Really, the drift reverses the same way it starts. One decision at a time, one showing up at a time, as opposed to, we're leaning into it as opposed to going away from it. Until the new normal is someone who shows up. Now suddenly that's the new normal. And the old normal feels like a long time ago. It does to me. So, where can you feel the drift in your own life right now? Not dramatically, just honestly. You know, where are you a little less than you really want to be? A little less energized, a little less present, a little further from the person that you know you're capable of being and want to be. Name it. Say it out loud. Once we say it out loud, it's out there. Can't take it back. That's where it starts. Right there. That's what I got for you, folks. I appreciate you joining me as you do each and every week. If the concept of the drift that I described today sounds familiar, reach out. Seriously. DM me Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Nextdoor. I'm I said Facebook. Yep. So I mean, those are the main ones. Find me at fernandezfit.com. First call is free. No pitch, no sales, just a conversation about where you are right now and where you want to be. And of course, as always, please like the show, leave a great review, share, subscribe, do all the things, because there's an entrepreneur, a business owner, a career-driven person in your world, and it might be you who's been drifting and hasn't dealt with it yet. This might be exactly what you or they need to hear, because as always, fitness is our business.